What's going on YouTube? Focus Tans here. So today I'm going to be looking at the issues that the Focus ST is having with shifting gears. I suspect that the shift tower in the car, it's like a little pin in the shift tower. I suspect that's broken. Now, the only video that I saw on this actually happened to be in 2004. Wait, hold on. After that ambulance went by. Hope they're doing all right. Anyway, so the shift tower, I suspect that the pin on that shift tower is broken, which doesn't allow the transmission to shift in any gear. Also, the shifter was broken. I don't know if the previous owner broke the shifter or not, but I bought another one of those and that's coming in. So let's dive into this and see if we can actually get that shift tower working, and if so, maybe that's the problem with the transmission. All right, stay tuned.
Fight.
Alright, so let's get started. So the first thing that we need to do for the car is to jack it up. We're going to actually not jack up the car. We're going to jack up the engine and transmission. So when I remove the transmission mount that you can see up here, I'll link it up in the description or link it up here up top so you can see it. I did a video on removing the transmission mount, so go watch that if you haven't, or if you don't know how to do that for the Focus. But I'm going to roll this jack up to support the engine transmission. So when I remove this mount, if you don't, it'll fall. So let's get to it and get on with the video. All right, so if you don't know how to do it, I'm doing this for you. So what I do is that I take this little piece of plywood, not plywood, but just wood in general, and I put it on the jack, and I put it right on the cross member for the engine and transmission where they meet, and I jack that up right there. I don't use, and you shouldn't ever use, the jack by itself to lift up on the oil pan or the transmission, because you could damage it, and I can't tell you how bad of a day that will be for you. Actually I can, but it'll be a very bad day for you. But yeah, we'll lift this up, and that should give us support to remove the transmission mount on top. So let's hop to it. All right, to begin, most of you will have a battery in your engine bay that you will have to remove. Then once you remove the battery, that gives you access to the battery cover box, or the battery cover box. You will need to remove this as well. So there's what is that? 1, 2, 3. Actually, it would be 1, 2, 3 screws you need to remove in order for that to come out. So let's do that. And just so you know, these bolts here are 13 millimeter bolts. Yep, so it's 13, and that one I think may also have been 13. I didn't take this one out. The previous owner took this out to try to check the transmission, but I'm gonna go and get these out. All right, so with those bolts 1, 2, and 3 removed, you should be able to just lift up and out on the battery box cover and set it off to the side. Which now, what is all this? What's all this then? It gives you access to the transmission mount here. So if you remember, I believe this one was a 21, and these were 15 millimeter bolts from the transmission mount video. So let's get those out. Stay tuned. So quick intermission. So if you try to get these off using a ratchet, you might notice that they're really hard to remove. You're going to want to use a breaker bar to break these loose, and I would suggest, pro tip here, I would suggest grabbing yourself one of these to get the bolts off. You'll get them off a lot quicker, and you'll see what I'm talking about. If you don't have one of these, this is just a 1/2 inch impact driver, impact gun. Definitely pick one up if you can. Find the cheap deals on, something that won't break real easy. I got this Cobalt one. I think I bought it for $195. at some point last year, and it came with the battery and the charging unit. So overall, good deal. But yeah, so we got all 1, 2, 3, 4 of the 15mm bolts out, and now we're gonna get the 21 on and get this one out. And I've been looking at the level of the engine and transmission as I take these bolts out, because you definitely don't want this to come falling down. That'll be a very bad day, and that almost happened to me in that video that I linked up here. I'm gonna link it again. Really go check that out so that you know how to remove these things and be safe and protect your engine. One thing I like to note here is that if you look at the engine mount here, it's shot. That engine mount will have to come out. It's definitely cracked all the way through, and I'm gonna have to replace this one, and for sure the passenger side engine mount will have to be replaced. You can tell it's got some rot in on it. You'll be able to see it when I do the video for it on engine mount changeouts. And then the bottom one I'll have to change out. When I started the car a couple days ago, and I didn't show the reveal, the engine had a lot of vibration, a lot of movement, and that just means that the engine mounts are bad. So anyway, let's get this one out and get on to that shift tower. Stay tuned. All right, with the engine successfully jacked up, and I verified that by pushing up on a little bit, and I saw this move upward, I can wiggle this out and remove everything that's in the way, and there you go, it comes off. So I actually got to remove that bolt, and we'll see what that is. But yeah, looking at this engine mount, you can see why I say it needs to be replaced. Look at all that. I'd want to say these are the original. Anyway, add that to the list of expenses at the end of the video. I guess I will, or at some video. So let's get this out and get this mounting bracket off, and we'll continue. Stay tuned. All right, so that bolt there is a 10mm bolt, if you're asking. I should be able to lift up on this. Is anything else holding this in? Yeah, so you're gonna have to remove that, and that. What are these? Don't know what size bolts these are. They look like they may be 8s. Here's a 10. Yeah, they're definitely 8s. And you move that. I don't know what this thing is. And if you know what this is, down in the comment section, let me know. I don't know what it is, but I need to remove it from that mount, from its mounting spot, and get out this 10mm bolt right here, and then I can lift this mounting bracket out. So I'm going to do that. All right, so down here up under this little bracket, you want to reach an upholstery tool and unclip this wiring harness and get that out of the way, so that you can get access to remove the mounting bracket. See if I can do this with one hand while shooting with a broken upholstery tool. There we go. All right. Hey, come on, focus the video. He said focus. And there's one more right here. There we go. I think that's all of them. So we should be able to... Nope, there's this one right here. I'm tugging. That one has to come off too. I'm just gonna unplug it. It's gonna unplug it and take it out. All right, so got the bracket out. There's clips on it that you want to make sure that you remove, like this this little hose here. You want to push in on that clip on either side of it, and then just push it through the hole, and you can get it off. Overall, not bad. Set that off to the side. All right, so now we'll get that harness out of the way, Now we are to the meat of it. And sorry, now we're to the meat of it, and here is the shifter. I might have to replace the shifter cables as well, because that sounds bad, right? Sounds really bad. I might work on that and replacing those shifter cables. The next thing I need to do is remove 1, 2, and 3 bolts down here at the bottom. So I'm gonna hop to that. I don't know what sizes they are, so let me go find out. So these bolts on top of the transmission mount itself are 15mm bolts, or 15mm. Use a 15mm socket to take off those 15mm bolts. All right, let's hop to it. All right, so now I should be able to maneuver this out. This is the mounting bracket, and there's not a lot of space in here, but you can get it out pretty easy. See? Set that off to the side. And now, what we've all been waiting for, right? To go ahead and disconnect this connector here. Be careful, because, you know, if you're doing this for the first time and you're old Focus, these plastic pieces could break. And you definitely don't want to break stuff, so come on off. There we go. And I would suggest here at this point to stop and clean up any gunk that is here, because you don't want this all this falling into your transmission. So stop, clean it up a bit, and that's what I'm going to do for this car. Is I'm going to stop, clean it up a bit, excuse me, and you know, blow it off and get back to work. Stay tuned. All right, YouTube, so see how it looks a little bit better. Got a lot of that loose debris out of the way, and that is the original Ford shift tower. So what we're going to do now is we are going to pop off the shifting cable. I'm going to pop that off. I think you can just push it. Just push it and it should come off. Yeah, you just push it and it comes off. And is there one on the side anywhere else? There's one down here. So push that one. It's like a little tab on the top that you saw. And just pull it off. Alright, so I got both of the shifter cables off, and I'll tell you that the top one here, you can see, let me zoom in a little bit more for you. So that top one right here, you just press that button and pull up on the bottom and it comes off. That side one is a bleep to get out. And what I did to remove it was I stuck my upholstery tool down on it and pressed the button and just pried it off, and it came out easy. But if you don't have an upholstery tool, please get yourself one. You never know when you're going to need it outside of, well, upholstery. They work for all sorts of things in these engines and in the car's interior. All right, so with that removed, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts that we have to remove to get the shift tower out. And you want to remember, at this point, you want to remember where each of these bolts go, because you'll need to install them back in their right location. I hear that these bolts, and I'll link that guy's video up here right now. I hear that these bolts have different links, so make sure that you put these back where you found them. Anyway, let's get it out, and we will have this shift tower, my very first ever shift tower, removed in a manual transmission. Stay tuned. So you can see why having an assortment of tools, excuse me, comes in handy. And this swivel tool, yet again, is saving me here, because this bolt is actually hard to get to because the mounting frame rail is in the way. So using the swivel head makes quick work of that. Stay tuned. that I want to show you before I take the shift plate or shift tower out. I numbered the bolts 1 through 6, 1 starting over here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Over here you have 1, 2, 3, 4. See how 5 is different in a different length? You want to make sure that 5 goes back into its right housing. What is it? 1, 4, minus 5 through 6 can all go into the different housings, but I'm going to put them back exactly like I found them. But make sure that bolt 5, in my case, goes back into the slot for bolt 5, or you will have some issues. All right, let's get the shifter out. So I should be able to just wiggle it out. Is there anything else holding it in? No. Should just be able to pull it out now. I'm gonna be careful not to hit anything. Slide any more dirt in there. All right, let's get this shifter cable out of the way. Come on, shifter cable, get out of the way. There we go. Should be able to lift up on it. Lift it up now. Don't get any dirt in the transmission, please. Oh yeah. There we go, baby. Look at that. It is out. And sure enough, that pin is broken. Stay tuned. All right, YouTube. So I figured out what was going on. This thing was just spinning. It wasn't shifting. So what I did to get it to shift, and I'll show you how it shifts in a second. But what I did is I took, where's this? I took a screw and I placed it right on the end. Let me zoom in for you. So come on, focus. He said it again. So that little spent piece of metal right here, on one side it was short, and on the other side it was a little long, but I have since then already, let me zoom out a little bit so you can see better. Come on now. So that piece right there, on one side it was longer than the other side, so I took this bolt, I placed it on the end of where this wound metal is. Let me turn this so you can see exactly what I did. Put it right on there, and I hammered it. I hammered on the top of the bolt and pushed that piece back in towards the middle, and that allowed the shifter to shift into each gear. I'm not sure why that works, and if someone can tell me why that works, I would appreciate it, but it worked. So now I'm going to put the shifter back in the car and see if it actually shifts through the gears. This is exciting. Stay tuned. YouTube, so I'm back. I took the shifter back out, the shift tower back out of the car, because I had an issue when I hit on the little screw, wound up coil metal. It was this top piece right here, I guess the throw out, or I'm not sure what they call this thing, but whatever this thing is, it was turned this way, which obviously can't work in the car because the shift cable can't get to it. So what I did is I hit the other side back in this, where is it at? Not that pin, but that pin. I hit that pin. Let me focus it on for you so you can see it. Where is it? There it is. I hit that pin back in using a little screw, and that allowed me to turn this bit here, so I can turn it now freely, like so. And then you hit the other side to lock it in place, and that's how you get it to shift through the gears. So let's do that and get it back in the car. Stay tuned. All right, YouTube, welcome to June, and I can't tell you which one of these is the new one. You decide. All right. Obviously, this one is the new one. This is obviously the new one. So we're gonna put this one in the car, and not put this one in the car. No, I'm kidding. So we're gonna take this one, this new shifter, install in the car, and we're gonna see if it if the car will move on its own power. All right, let's hop to it. All right, focus crew. So I got the shifter in place, and it seems like it's in neutral because this is first, second, third, fourth. I think that's fifth, and that's either reverse, not sure, but that shifter tower needs to be fixed, needs to get the pin gun put back in it better, but at least I'm able to do this, which is cool. So now I'm going to turn the car on and try it, and since I'm left-handed, let's see if I can do this. The car has the handbrake up, and I'm going to attempt to try it while I am using my other hand. So let's turn it on, push the clutch all the way in, slowly let off the clutch. Let's let it warm up, and we'll test it. So when it warms up, I'll catch you back on before I get ready to make a move, so stay tuned. All right, focus crew, so I want to show you this. I can tell you right now that I suck at driving manual. I keep causing the car to go dead because I'm not giving it any gas. I haven't really fathomed the idea of manual and what you need to do. But the car definitely moves under its own power. I was able to go into reverse, and I was able to go into first gear drive forward, and it shifts like normal. No problems other than my inability to drive manual. But I'm going to learn and to give the car a little bit of gas and whatnot. But this is huge. This is great news for myself and the car, and it's now I'm able to drive the car under its own power. Though I still might drop the clutch, drop the transmission, change out the clutch and whatnot, but it means that there's nothing wrong with the transmission, but everything was wrong with the shift tower, and that's huge. So if you have problems with your shifter where it's not going into gear, follow my steps here to change out the shift tower, because that probably is your issue, and you just want to replace that pin or push that pin back inside, as you saw in the earlier slides. And that's it. I'm gonna try to get some shots of me actually driving the thing under its own power when I actually learn how to shift correctly. But right now I don't have a lot of space to move back and forward, so it's gonna take me a little time to learn the process. You know, I'm actually really excited about driving manual, but that just makes the process a little easier for me, knowing that, hey, look, I don't have to worry about replacing the transmission, even though I kind of wanted to, but I can now focus on learning how to drive it, still dropping the clutch and changing the clutch out, and getting the car painted. As you see all this nice work that I've done to it so far. It's, you know, getting ready for its big debut in the paint booth that I'm going to build. But yeah, that's it for this episode. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll catch you very soon for more updates on this car. And you know, make sure you stay tuned in for that. I appreciate you if you've already subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, I still appreciate you for joining the video and watching it to the end. Definitely helps me out, and it helps get this video out there to people who need that help. Anyway, Focused Hands here, signing off. Peace. You can see it yourself. Excuse me, I had to sneeze. So you can see it yourself, this is the piece that is sitting inside of the shift tower, that little shifter thing that I showed you earlier. This is what breaks on the transmission and likely causes it, well, not likely, really, it causes it not to be able to shift into any gear. So this piece you'll need to have replaced and or push the two pieces that are in there into place. But I think I'm going to take mine back out and take this up to a mechanic shop and see if they can get something like this and roll it, and so that I can knock it back in there, so that it can shift. Yeah, anyway, catch you next time.